gentlemen, welcome back to WCS Season 2 Grand Finals. Fantastic crowd here. Thank you so much for all your support of supporting the players this afternoon. It's been terrific. We are now down, almost sadly, to our last quarter-final of the day. I can't believe it's gone this fast. And as you can see on the bracket right now, first we'll play Jaedong in our semi-final tomorrow, and Tasia, the sun god, takes down Rain in match number 1, which means we have just one more quarter-final remaining. Chobra, it's been an amazing day already, but this was the game that I was the most looking forward to, so I'm still super excited.
Clearly last, but definitely not least for this quarterfinal, because we're looking at two players who have come a long way in Heart of the Swarm and Starcraft 2 in general, and now they're here. They've had both ups and downs this whole season of WCS Season 2, and can they take it? We have them on our screen right now.
Yeah, as you can see on your screen, ranked 23 right now, Scarlett. Ranked 11, however, is Bomber after having a decent Season 1 and a terrific Season 2. He was absolutely deadly in group play yesterday, and likewise, Scarlett's forced her way back through from the lower bracket in her group to face Bomber in this quarter-final. No pressure, but Scarlett is the last foreign hope alive, so all the weight on her shoulders here as we go into this final quarter-final. Let's introduce you to the players.
First up, we have the man of aggression coming out from WCS Korea, the man who's been soaring throughout this tournament. Can he continue his journey in WCS Season 2 Finals? It's going to be none other than Startail Bomber.
Bomber takes on a lady who's made her way through to the quarter-final, a Canadian by birth, a brilliant season in WCS America Season 2. Please welcome the Queen of Blades, Scarlett! Commentary team for this one is a unique duo. You haven't seen them together this weekend, so it gives me great pleasure to introduce you to a Liverpool-scarfed Artosis and Mr. Kalaris. Take it away, guys.
Thank you so much, Red Eye and Chobra. Of course, I'm wearing this scarf in support of Kalaris, who is from Liverpool. Right? That's in England.
It is in England.
All right, there we go. So, Scarlett versus Bomber. Coming up next, Kalaris. What do you think?
It's going to be a good one. It's going to be a good one, I got to say. This is actually my most anticipated match of the entire round of 8. A lot of people were looking forward to Jaedong Naniwa. Understandable. Looking forward to our life first. Very good play by first. But now, the last foreign hope remaining. Scarlett going up against Bomber. Good series.
I got to ask you, can she kill Bomber? Bomber is like insanely good. He's been playing fantastically. He did so well in WCS Korea. But Scarlett is looking like one of the best macro Zergs in the world this weekend.
It's an interesting thought, and I've got to answer it with the fact that, you know, Scarlett, she's run up against Terrence time and time again as of late. But Bomber hasn't really gone up against many Zergs as of late. In fact, I think it's been like 2 months or so since he last had a proper encounter with a Zerg.
Yeah, you are correct there. So he's definitely been practicing the other matchups more, and this may give Scarlett an edge. The fact that there's only 2 Zergs in this tournament, I don't think many people prepared for them.
Yeah.
So, you know, I was joking before we started, wouldn't it be funny if we had a ZVZ finals, but we're getting closer and closer to that.
We kind of are, yeah. And Scarlett, I mean, she anticipated here going into this series. I think she said before that she's feeling pretty confident. She's feeling that she could maybe even take it 3-0. If so, moving on from there, what an amazing turn of events that would be.
She's playing macro games like you just never see from Zergs.
Yeah.
She's actually looked a lot like Solkey this weekend. Like that last set that she was playing, it blew my mind. just out-macroing, outplaying, defending everything.
Yeah.
Very standard, solid play. Nothing gimmicky about it. A lot of times you see, especially these foreigner Zergs, rise up and start killing some Koreans, and it has to do with roaches. With Scarlett, it has to do with speedlings and mutas.
Oh, yeah. And the funny thing is that even though she favors that Ling Bane Muta style, she can still switch it up. She can go roaches if she wants. If she sees an opponent going for mech, she's more than happy to crush face with those roaches.
I have to agree. So I have no idea how this is going to go. Let's take a look at the map vetoes. Neo Planet S for Scarlett, Derelict Watcher for Bomber. You know, I can't disagree with this too much.
No, nor can I. After seeing the way Scarlett was playing Derelict Watcher against her previous Terran opponents, Bomber wants nothing to do with that. Absolutely nothing.
This has actually been a pattern throughout the tournament. Whatever Terran plays her next, vetoes the map that she played best on, or the map she played best on in the previous set. That has actually happened several times.
That's certainly true here. And now both players go to their booths. A lot of people rooting for this lady as Scarlett sits down and gets ready to face off against an extremely formidable, but as you said, during WCS Korea, we saw Bomber performing so well. Actually, I would say, arguably playing the games of his career.
Yeah. And in fact, you know what? It's very weird, Claris, because of course everyone keeps getting better and better. Everyone's practicing all the time, but I would say specifically at this tournament, a good chunk of these players are playing by far the best StarCraft of their lives.
Yeah.
Like, far and away, Tasia blowing my mind.
Crazy.
Jaedong as well. I mean, First is playing fantastically. I think these are the best games I've ever seen from Scarlett. It is a sight to behold. Perhaps the best StarCraft 2 tournament of all time.
It's the stars have aligned here for all of these players, and at their peak performances, just to clash against one another. And now we are in the final quarterfinal here to determine who moves on to the round of 8. Scarlett, I assume, singing here to herself, but they have just aligned, and that makes this tournament so fantastic right now.
Yeah, it certainly does, and it will continue to be so. I'm actually very sad that this is the last match tonight, but you know what? It should be. We should let everyone rest and have even better games tomorrow if that's even possible. But let's take a look here. This is the map pool. Star Station, then Newkirk, then Belshire, and then a couple others I didn't read in time.
A couple others, man. Yeah, that's perfect. Well, this is certainly going to be interesting. We start on Star Station, you say? Yes. So this is actually, I feel, a really good map for both players to feel out their opponents.
Yeah. You think it's going to be a macro game here?
I would say so, yeah. I think that Scarlett feels very content just getting up to her 3 bases and then just getting over to that 70 drone count and then playing out from there. Meanwhile, though, does Bomber say that is going to be Scarlett's rhetoric and just goes for something a little bit more aggressive?
Well, Bomber can and will play like that. This is a guy that will mix in anything. He'll go double proxy racks. He'll go for weird Marauder stim timings with Hellions. I've seen him even go mech before against Zerg. I mean, he has a huge range of play. So,
and noticeably here, as you can see, a lot of Bomber's recent opponents have not been Zerg. His 43 win % ratio here against Zerg, but we haven't seen his versus Zerg for a long time. So I'm going to say that 43% is probably not reflective of his skill in this matchup.
I have to agree with you. You know, you can see his other win percentages. I think his TVZ is very strong, and I think it's a style that's going to match up well against Scarlett because he has the macro. He's always been the guy that no matter what happens in the battle, you look back and you're like, how does he have that many Marines after that battle he just lost everything in? And at the same time, he is willing to mix in anything else.
Yep, certainly so here. And then we have Scarlett, a player that has gone up against a lot of Terrans as of late, doing pretty well against a lot of them, only falling to Alive recently, who I would say, again, peak performance right now of his career. So that's understandable that loss did happen. But then taking out a player like Maru, who I would consider to be not too used to these kind of weekend-style tournaments, but still very impressive result.
Well, all right. I need an exact prediction from you, Claris.
Oh, great. Okay. I will go to 3-2 Scarlett. I think it goes all the way, and Scarlett ekes out in the very last second.
Okay. I think it is going to go 5 games.
Yeah.
It's so hard to say who, though. I want to see what type of style that Bomber is going to use here, because if he's trying just pure macro games while his macro is tip-top shape, I don't know if that's enough to beat Scarlett this weekend.
It's tough. It's going to be tough, man. And now we load up into the final series of the night. It's going to be Scarlett versus Bomber, game number 1 on Star Station. And this, again, this could be even the best series of the night, depending on how it goes, because we've had some really good series, but...
That's a tall order. Yeah. Oh, man, we've had a pretty good set of series so far, but we will see.
All right, well, let's jump in to game number 1. So we have Startail facing off against Acer here, the round of 8. One player will advance on forwards to that round of 4. As we have spun down to the bottom right-hand corner, our Red Terran representing Startail and Korea. Give it up for Bomber. To the top left-hand corner are Blue Zerg, representing Team Acer and Canada. Give it up for Scarlett.
Scarlett seeming to be a big crowd favorite here today, Claris. Well, you know, with only one foreigner left, why not?
Why not?
Yeah, and you know, no matter who wins here, it's going to be just an amazing top 4 tomorrow, but I really wouldn't mind seeing Scarlett go through and maybe possibly get her first big victory.
I thought you were going to go with, we're all winners here in StarCraft.
But fans are the winners.
We're all winners. Well, anyway, Scarlett now, I'm interested to see what she's going to do here, but more so I'm interested to see how Bomber reacts to what he's seen from Scarlett prior. There's a lot of ZVTs that he can study of Scarlett going into this series. He's known ever since, well, a few hours ago that he was going up against Scarlett. So now what does he bring to the table? Does he bring aggression? Looks like he's not at the very beginning.
No, certainly not. Going to be going for that command center first, and it makes sense. You know what? Scarlett's been playing such strong macro games. If you open up with anything else, you open up with like a Reaper or, you know, just racks into command center, your economy is not as strong as the Zergs to start out with, and Bomber may just not want to give that up. Scarlett hasn't really shown any cheesy play this weekend.
Yeah, there is certainly opportunity for it against a command center on the high ground, as a lot of people following the foreign scene may or may not know about. But Bomber here with that, playing a little more defensively, getting that barracks in a good position. And it's funny because even if you do go for that, it's mainly... if you were going for the aggression as Scarlett with like a hatchery on the low ground, for example, the barracks placement's very important, and you can actually wall off behind that with an engineering bay. So not likely to happen here.
Certainly not. Look at this. We actually see the Overlords going in very specific directions and a drone scout. Scarlett is not screwing around. A lot of people have been trying to 2-rax her, knowing her macro game is strong. So that's a nice message down at the bottom.
Yeah, Tasha's pretty happy with the result there. And whoa, coming back to this game, third command center going down very quickly here for Bomber.
That's the quickest it can actually be. That's after just one barracks with no gases. So, you know, this is a situation in which if Scarlett had decided to do a really quick all-in-cheese, something like Slowling, Baneling, free win. But of course, why would Scarlett do that with how well she's been macroing up?
Yeah, exactly. And Bomber, you know, on the flip side, we said at the very beginning this was going to be the feel-out game. Just kind of know exactly what your opponent's up to, play a bit of a macro focus, and see what your opponent can bring to the table later on. In a similar vein, we saw Maru try and do that against Scarlett in game 1, and then in game 2 he was like, nah, maybe don't want to do that again.
Yeah, that's it's a smart way to play, but we'll see what Bomber, how he mixes it up. You know, Bomber definitely a player that takes a lot of risks when he feels like it. You know, this might actually be like the never-ending rally push, as we used to call it in Korea, where Bomber has 3 quick command centers, a lot of SCVs, rally.
I'm not quite sure how this happened.
No, I'm not sure. I guess I left Twitter logged in somewhere.
I guess you're very handsome.
I guess. But you know, this could be one of those like non-stop rally pushes where Bomber is like, hey, watch how many Marines I can make, and he has like 15 Marines making non-stop all game.
Yep, that's certainly true. I was about to bring up exactly the same thing, actually. You know, seeing Bomber utilize that with such ferocity, it's unlike any other Terran. You just watch Bomber do it, and he's in a world-class position when he does so. And adding on the barracks at the front, just making sure he's sturdy, it's going to add on a lot of macro as well. So he's playing his own game right now. He doesn't really care too much what Scarlett's doing.
You know, I'm pretty excited here to see exactly when Scarlett throws down her evolution chambers, because one thing I've noticed from her is that every game so far against Terran in this tournament that I've seen, at least, she's gotten them very quickly. And there you go. She's been beating out the engineering bay timing basically every game. Maru was even once, but other than that, she's always ahead in upgrades, which is really indicative of the fact that she's going to want to go for a macro style here, most likely.
Interesting that these barracks aren't actually producing just yet. Oh, and there we go, actually. Never mind. As Bomber does start beginning those, along with Stim as well. But he's sending his scout out across the map, and I'm wondering, he hasn't even scouted until this point, so he doesn't really care, as I guess
that tells us why we see a 3-barracks wall with a bunker behind it. He's playing safe, saying it's all right, I'll just throw down all this production, I'm going to need it anyways, and it's going to keep me a lot safer against any crazy Baneling play.
And the scout does get confirmation that there is a 3rd down. Who would have guessed it here? As Scarlett's playing her own game behind this as well. Marine's going to push out, but I don't think they're going to really get too much done. Scarlett will eventually spot those with Queens even at the front, and then shut that down pretty handily.
I think he's literally looking to force maybe a few lings, maybe snipe a creep tumor, maybe kill a couple lings, but that's about it. You don't want to lose these early Marines, even with such a macro-oriented opening.
And that creep spread, very characteristic of Scarlett here, once again, just flying across the map. And it gets to a point where the maybe 10, 11 minute mark where Bomber really starts need to actually shutting that creep down, because if it reaches his side of the map, then trouble is afoot.
We have the same exact Baneling timing right now for Scarlett that we've had basically the entire time. She times that out to end about the same time as the layer, start Baneling speed, get 2-2 going, and aspire. So this is exactly what Bomber has been studying leading up to this match. I guarantee you he's been going through the VODs trying to figure out how she plays, and this is probably his actual counter to it, which looks to me like a bunch of macro and, well, at least one siege tank, just for safety's sake.
Yeah, not too bad to get that in there. And in fact, on the high ground, in between the natural and 3rd base, is sometimes a pretty good spot to put that. Of course, you can put it back behind, in between those bases on the low ground as well, but he's just bringing it back, seemingly, to go where I initially said. So thank you, Bomber. Thank you so much.
That's a good place. You know, that's going to have a lot of versatility in where it can guard.
Yeah, it's a nice spot.
Claris, I mean, this is